We're going to start. Welcome to the regular meeting of the Aging and Disability Commission for the town of Simsbury, September 15th, 2020 at 7 p.m. I'd like to call this meeting to order. If we could all please place our hands over our hearts and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I know that we had asked that any public audience and public comments be submitted to the town clerk. Were there any comments submitted for a public audience or public comment at this time? Do we know of? I don't know of any. None were submitted. Okay, so for those watching at home, well, everybody's watching from home, I guess, but for those watching on SCTV, remember that for our future meetings, we will be doing these via Zoom and showing them on SCTV. If you would like to submit public comment or a topic for public audience, please submit it to the town clerk no later than 4:30 on the Monday before our next meeting. Okay, so we sent out some the minutes from the previous meeting. Our last meeting was on February 18th, 2020. Did everybody receive a copy of the minutes that were sent out?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So good thing we sent them out. Please let me know if there are any changes or corrections to the minutes. Shannon?
Hi, I love reading minutes for this stuff. So under Board of Selectmen Liaison Report, Selectmen should be MEN. And it also says, third line down, she also relayed that for Selectman Weller, it should be Wellman.
Oh, I didn't have to catch that.
Finally, she noted that the Board of Selectmen, that should be an E again. I think that's it.
Thank you. Are there any other corrections or additions to the minutes from February?
Move to accept.
We have a motion to accept our minutes from Mark Ornstein. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Shannon Knoll seconds the motion. All those in favor of accepting the minutes with the noted corrections from February 18th, 2020, please raise your hand in affirmative action. All those opposed? Any abstentions?
I'll abstain because I wasn't there.
Yes, one abstention noted. Erin has abstained since she was not part of during the commission at that time. But the motion does pass and we will accept the minutes from our previous meeting. Thank you. At this time, I would like to introduce our new commission member, Erin Levitt-Smith, who is joining our commission. This is her first meeting. Welcome, Erin. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
I would also like at this time to just announce that we've also had 3 resignations, which I'm now adding to the agenda here, from our commission. Lorraine Doonan has officially resigned. We had known about that a little while ago, but she had not submitted her resignation letter to the town clerk. But I also received emails this week from Arlene Zappiel and Marvin Koff, who are also resigning from our commission at this time. With that being said, in our current standings, unless anybody else sends another letter as resignation, that leaves us with 2 alternate spots open on our commission, and looks like 2 regular spots because we had one previously open, and with Marvin stepping down, we have 2 alternate spots and 1 full member spots available on our commission. Mike, you have something to say?
Unmute, Mike.
Oh, re-unmute. Mike, try again. There you go.
Okay. I like to explore making the alternate members permanent members if they want.
Great. I think that's a wonderful idea. I think we should probably have a nomination committee looking at filling spots, and we can discuss with the alternate members. The alternate members we have currently are Victor Bible, and Cheryl Cook. So I'm certainly happy to talk with them after this meeting and see if they have interest in becoming permanent members or if they would like to continue on as alternate members. But that's a great idea, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay.
Diana, I certainly would like to become a regular member. I have talked with Ed about this a number of times, and it never seemed to materialize, but I certainly would like to be a permanent member.
Okay, great. I will explore what we need to do to make that happen and move you up to a regular member, and then we find another alternate spot.
Yeah. Do the political committees need to be involved in this?
I believe they do.
Yeah.
So that's why I believe we have to officially have a nominating chair who then, because I remember when I went from alternate to a regular spot, I had to sign something at the town clerk's office. But I believe it shouldn't be to fill the open spots. I know that each party has to be notified of the open spots we have to fill, but to move from alternate to a regular spot, I will find out if that has to be done through the political parties or if that's just done within the commission, as long as we have a balance within our commission, which I have that information. So, but I'm certainly, Vic, I will work on that, and I will make sure it's either done or we correspond before our next meeting.
Thank you.
Yes.
Let me mention also, my term ends the end of this year,
Yes.
and I am not planning on renewing at this point. I've been
Okay.
on it for about 12 years.
Yes.
If you want to approach to get somebody on earlier, to go through the whole sort of work year, I'd be more than happy to write a resignation letter.
Okay, great. Thank you for that information, Mark. We will be sad to have you go, but certainly understand you've been on for a long time.
Yes.
Thank you for helping us out. Anyone else before we drop like flies? Okay.
Certainly a lot of shakeup.
I think we are still awaiting Wendy Mactusis, who is our Board of Selectmen liaison. It would be time for the Board of Selectmen liaison report right now. So at this point, we're going to move on, and we can come back to that point when she arrives, and we'll move on to Senior Center report.
Okay. So as most of you know, on March 13th, we canceled all senior center programming. And then Eno Hall closed on March 19th to the public. When that happened, the direction we were given is we'd probably reopen in June. But little did we know it would be September, and we're still closed to the public. We started with doing phone call wellness checks with people, but quickly transitioned into live virtual programs. Most of those programs are being done through Zoom. We also distributed information to our members about the programming on SCTV. There's classes on there and a bunch of programs, and also through AARP. We are still doing weekly wellness checks. Our outreach coordinator maintains a list, and she contacts those people every week just to check in. Like I said, we're still closed to the public except by appointment. So if we can't have an appointment virtually or over the phone, people can make an appointment one at a time to come into the building. The only exception to that is we are going to be doing flu clinics in the building in October. And we also will be starting our foot care clinics in October. But again, that will be similar to when you go to a physician's appointment. People will have to stay in their cars. We'll come out and screen them and bring them in one at a time into the building. You know, when this all started, I think it was the first week in April, we reached out to our members and asked them if we had anybody to be willing to make and sew masks for us. And we had 30 members that responded. And to date, as of last Friday, they've sewn 4,400 masks for us.
Wow.
I know, it's amazing. And so we've distributed just under 3,000 masks to the community. We've given masks to the schools, we've given to senior living facilities, businesses, members. So if anybody does need a mask, or you know anybody that needs a mask, you can call me at the senior center or email me, and we can get you as many masks as you need. We have adult sizes, we have child sizes, we even have special masks for people with hearing aids. So if you need masks, please don't hesitate to contact us. I'll give you the dates for our flu clinics that'll be held. They'll be held in the building. That will be Thursday, October 8th from 2 to 4, and Tuesday, October 20th from 9:30 to 11:30. We're doing those flu shots with the Farmington Valley VNA, so you can contact the VNA to make an appointment. They are also doing a drive-through flu clinic at the Weetog Fire Station on October 7th. That's in collaboration with the Health District and the VNA. And you can contact either the Health District or the VNA to make an appointment for that. Just on the social service side, when this all started, we started doing drive-by food distributions. And since we began, we've served 157 different families with a monthly average of 140 families. These 157 families consist of 334 people total, made up by 129 adults, 111 children, and 94 seniors. So we want to thank the community. Has been so generous donating food, non-perishable food to us, also financial donations that people have been donating right from the beginning. So we thank everybody for that. Just a couple of staffing news items. Some of you might know that Charlotte Barth, who was our social services assistant, who was with the town for 30 years, retired on September 2nd. And Dana Olson, who was my assistant in the senior center, took Charlotte's position.
Oh, great.
So we are in the process of hiring a permanent replacement for Dana in the senior center. And so many of you know Ed's wife, Wendy LaMontagne. She's temporarily working in the senior center in the assistant position until we find a permanent replacement. So we're happy to have them on board. And I think that's everything. Thank you.
Kate, you have a question?
Yes, Kathleen, I'm very interested in these Zoom things. What kind of participation have you had? I see that you have like just meet and talk. Has that been helpful in getting people less isolated?
Right, we've been doing regular Zoom chats. We have a full roster of fitness classes. We've been doing meditation. This week we have a chef demo on Thursday. So we're trying to throw out as many classes as possible.
And how is the participation?
You know, it's good. Some classes are better than others. We still have folks struggling, but people have been doing a great job, you know, learning Zoom and coming on the meetings.
That's great.
Yeah.
And one other thing, Dana was collecting material for the mask. Are you all still taking donations?
Absolutely. We'll still accept donations of material or elastic or thread. Yes.
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mike, you have a question?
Well, I'm off mute. Okay. Kathy, you mentioned calling residents to check in. Where did the list of people come from?
Our
Who are
outreach,
you calling?
our outreach coordinator maintains a list. If you know somebody that you think should be on the list, you can certainly let me know.
I guess I'm just trying to get an understanding how it's the list first generated.
Well, that's one of our outreach coordinators' jobs. She follows up on 911 calls. We get all 911 reports from people in Simsbury 65 and over, and she follows up on that. So that's how a lot of that list was started. We get phone calls from neighbors, family members that say they're concerned, someone living alone.
Yeah. Because in my condo complex, there's a number of older women. My wife Sylvia has been helping out a number of them. I'm just wondering, how do people, is there an easy way for them to get on the list?
Sure, they can call me at the senior center, or they can call the social services department.
Okay,
And Mike, I can get you those phone numbers if you'd like.
yes, please.
Okay.
Also, I think Sylvia said that that this is something maybe the Lions Club could help out with, look into helping out.
Okay. We certainly could talk to them about that. That's a great idea.
Okay.
Thank
With
you.
regard to Mike's comment, Kathy, do the people have to agree to get on this list?
Yes.
So
They have to
Mike,
agree to give us their phone number and accept our phone call.
that's important, Mike, because
Right.
I think I know one of the people you may be thinking of. And I don't know that she would be agreeable to that, to have her name put on that list. So that I just bring it up as a matter of information.
So the person needs to agree to be called.
Right. Well, they have to accept the phone call.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I think.
Anyone else for Kathy? All right, Kathy, that's some really great stuff that's going on in the senior center. Really, really, really great stuff. Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to move on to old business, which at this point seems really, really, really old. So be patient as we go over this old business, because there's just, COVID has just affected everything. So the first thing on my list is the age-friendly community update. I'm going to say what I'm probably going to say quite a bit over the next couple of things is I don't really have an update on this right now, but I'm keeping it on the agenda. I did communicate with Ed, and he said when everything hit, it kind of went to the wayside a bit. So it's something that when the time is right, I need to find out where it was last, what was the last thing, where it stood, and where do we need to pick up and start moving forward with that. So that is really the only update I have on the age-friendly community update. I know that there was a bit of movement, and there was going to be something, but everything halted, and that's where it has stood since February, unless somebody else has an update that I'm not aware of. Yes, Vic.
I have a number of books. I believe Jen has them as well. That has all the different steps, different programs.
Okay.
I've gone, if you recall, to Greenwich to meet the other 4 towns that did it. And as far as where we are right now, Ed had control of that. I believe the town passed the a sponsorship for us to be that, but as far as I know, we haven't moved off of that, and we haven't gone into any of the. We were supposed to be doing a survey. That was probably the next step that we're going to try and do, to create a survey and start from there.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's where, according to the minutes from February, he noted that the Friends of Newtown Seniors held a full day seminar in April of 2018. Neither Greenwich nor Newtown had used the full 14-page survey that was suggested by AARP. We talked about the responses. Yeah, so we proposed to have a draft of the AARP survey available for the commissioner's review at the next meeting, which would have been March. And I think that's where it stalled, and that's the last place it was. So I need to round back with Ed. I want to try to get things from him, and how complete was that survey to bring to you guys, or am I recreating it? And then so for the next meeting, we can at least start to move forward with that survey again.
Also, Diana, you might want to check with Ed as to who the AARP contact is. That he's had some contact with people, and I have not. But other than going to that one meeting, you might want to find out who that is, because at least from what I attended the meeting, they were very willing to be of help to us.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I have the stuff that I had compiled, but it's, from stuff that we've all heard previous. It's where the survey lies now and what are the next steps. And that's the stuff I need to get from Ed.
Okay.
Anyone else on the age-friendly community update? Okay. Disability-friendly community updates. Anybody have anything on some disability-friendly community updates? That also, I think, is something we were starting to talk about, but I'm not sure anything really happened with it. So I think it's also we're going to keep it on our agenda right now and see where we can pick up and start again or build from there.
Yeah, I was working on that with Sue Lemke.
Yes.
And it's not happening right now.
Right now. Yeah. Yeah. Sue and I had been working on it years ago, and it got momentum, then it got stalled. And then I think we were trying to pick up momentum again, but then this stalled everything. So, I kept it on old business because these are things I just don't want to forget about. And I didn't want people to think everything went to the wayside. And we will find the time to get these appropriately up and addressed again as soon as we can. Anybody have anything else on that?
No, my feeling is that as soon as we can, it's probably a year away from now.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, whatever legwork we can do here, paperwork, busy work, on the ground, in-person type of work is going to take quite a bit longer, as you'll see, and some other things that I'm going to talk about that are stalled. So, but we're going to do our work the best we can, and we all are in that understanding and wanting to address things, but do it in the appropriate, safe ways that we can. Loan locker update. Well, the good news is the loan locker is open and is up and running. And that's some good news. And what's even better news is that Jean Miles yesterday was named one of our hometown heroes for her work on the loan locker. She was nominated by Alan Needham, and she's extremely humble in accepting this award. But she jumped on board as the first volunteer and ran with those reins to get that loan locker up and running. And we are very grateful to her. We are super grateful for the loan locker. For those, again, watching on SCTV, if you are in need of some medical equipment, the loan locker is up and running. please call and make, tell them what you need, and they will make the appointment for you to get the appropriate medical equipment that you would need. And we're so happy that that is up and running. And congratulations to Jean, our friend. Anyone else anyone else on the loan locker? Yay, exciting news. Baseball field accessibility.
Yes, as you might have guessed, there's nothing on that either, but I did reach out to Simsbury Little League, and they will be discussing it at their October meeting.
Great. So going back for a second, when we talk about, because this is making me, oh no, never mind, I have it on the list later. So pin that, we'll get back to that. Great, so working on this. All right. Anybody questions for Shannon or comments before I move on? Okay, our aging and disability programs in COVID shutdown. So here we are, as we've said, many things are on hold. And so in this time, the spring fling did not happen. Our annual picnic did not happen. Halloween is coming up, and our Santa event would normally be coming up. And we have to see where we are going to be at those times. I can't say that I see, first of all, with Eno Memorial Hall being closed to the public, that's off the table. So as long as Eno Memorial Hall is closed, any in-person, sensory-friendly, disability-friendly events that we had normally planned at this time cannot happen. And, for the safety of those, especially when we're talking about our audience of seniors and those with disabilities who may be in that higher risk population, we want to be very careful as we plan events and do our programming going forward. The spring event that for the seniors that we would have been planning and potentially had also did not happen. And I'm not sure, if there's something virtual we want to try to do for the fall. If not, potentially we can start looking at an activity for those with disabilities in a virtual format for the Halloween and Santa event or Halloween and holiday event, as well as a senior program, maybe in the late winter, early spring, to do a virtual program for seniors and the community. So this is something to think about. I don't necessarily even know what that may look like, but I'm certainly open to ideas. I'm certainly open to hearing, and I think the commission might be open to what we might be able to provide to our community at this time in the best safe way we possibly can to try to continue any of our programs in any sort of meaningful way at this time. So if anybody has anything else to add, Shannon.
I'm just wondering if I'm so bummed about this, particularly like the Halloween one, because I know that the kids really like that. And it's so important for them to get that experience, and the families as well. And I'm just wondering if there's a way that we can reach out to families who have come in the past, even if it's just, a simple postcard that says like Happy Halloween, like just to let them know that we haven't forgotten about them. That, we wish that we could all be together. Just a little token.
Yeah, I'm writing down. That's why I'm.
Didn't the people give us their name and email address?
I have. Oh, there's Wendy. I do have the list of prior attendees for both the Halloween, the Spring Fling, the picnic, the Santa event. So I do have a list that I can email and reach out to. I have mailing addresses for some of the homes that we've worked with in the past. So I'm happy to reach out to them as well. I wonder if there is a way for us to do an outdoor sensory friendly Halloween event, even at the Meadows or outside of Eno, around the building, and have little areas around the building if we feel that's something that can be done safely. It wouldn't take very long, and it wouldn't be very hard to put together. So we can think about it, or we can mull ideas, and Kathy and I can chat, over the next couple of weeks. If the commission wants us to explore a Halloween type event for those with disabilities to come before Halloween, and because I know it's even for the general public. Is Halloween going to be canceled this year? It's turning into kind of a thing. So how can we maybe do something safely for those with disabilities who have a hard enough time, and for them to cancel a Halloween event, even in the general public, could also be quite devastating. I lived through that with my own son with autism in 2011 and 2012. And the amount of anxiety and the trauma, literally, he went through at 11 and 12 years old over having Halloween postponed during those storms was tremendous. And so for years, it was afraid that it was going to be canceled. So, I'm happy to explore if there's a way to do an event. If we don't feel that it's safe and we don't feel that it's something that we want to do, that's okay too. But I'm willing to explore if anybody has any comments or questions about that. Kathy, what are your thoughts?
We can certainly look into it. We've talked about doing outdoor programming at the senior centers, and the issue is the bathrooms. Because it's just a problem because we can't let people in to use the restrooms. I know we've talked about maybe doing a Halloween parade to visit people. I don't know.
Yeah. And I know it's tricky because we are a town commission, and last I knew, and Wendy, you can correct me if I'm wrong, the town is not officially sponsoring any type of events right now. So would this be seen as a town event, which then we're violating our COVID policy, the town policy? So I also want to be careful in that as well. I just, again, as Shannon said, I don't want people to think we forgot about them, and trying to help people as much as we can during this time. Kate, you have something to say?
Well, I don't know. I thought I had an answer, but I don't know. I thought maybe that church we use for the picnic, if it's open, if that hall would be more conducive, but then you have the bathroom. And last year that we stood behind the doors and we opened the doors, I was just wondering if we were outside, if there could be something that could be constructed so that there would be safety with the person giving candy and interacting with the family. I don't know.
Yeah.
So Diana?
Yes, Wendy.
So I just went to an event, a kind of town pack 350th committee this weekend. They did the movie on the pack, and they had the circles set up. And I'm a huge fan of those circles. So you could kind of do like reverse trick-or-treating if it could be outside, and have people in the families in the circles, and then people bring candy or something. Just something to think outside of the box like that. And you can do, I don't know what funding or whatever with the pack, but the pack's looking for any kind of events to have there, and they do get the portalettes to come in. So just as an option or an idea.
Okay. Bear with me, people, because you're thinking like, keep the 7-year pods. We all dress as doors and bring them. Anyway, I digress.
Okay, just throwing that out there.
Thank you. No, I appreciate that.
To what you said, I think it'd be great if we could do something.
Okay.
Still. And the pavilion has a roof, so I was thinking a tent, but it could be a small setup on the pavilion with the roof. In case of bad weather, of course.
Right. Mike, did you have a comment?
I just wanted to bring up, this is something I couldn't go to because I'm high risk. I guess you should be careful on who your involvement is.
Right. And that's something that I want to be very aware, for anything that we try to do, that a lot of our population could be high risk.
Like
So,
I'm thinking of if the senior center gets involved, and these seniors, they're high risk also.
yeah. So I think if the commission is okay, and we can, you know, I'll take you can do a thumbs up or thumbs down, and I'll take a good. For the program for the Halloween, for example, a disability friendly Halloween event, perhaps Kathy and I could, and whoever else wants to help, can talk over the next couple of weeks and see if something is viable, feasible, and we think it can be done as safely as possible. I'm happy to explore that if the commission would like us, and although I'm just volunteering Kathy to help me apparently. But she's always been my partner in crime in these. So again, I'm happy to explore this if the commission would like us to do so. Do you want to give a thumbs up or thumbs down if you would like me and Kathy and somebody else to explore it? Please give a thumbs down if you are not comfortable with it. So, okay, noted. Put them back up for a second. I just want to make sure I'm counting correctly.
Am I allowed to vote or not? I don't know. I think I'm just a liaison, so.
Okay.
If you do go forward with it, the library would like to help.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Susan. We did have the majority put the thumbs up. I am going to take very seriously the concerns of risk, and if we think there's even the slightest risk, it will not move forward. But we will explore and let the commission know. We can even let you know by email before the next commission meeting, and then at the next commission meeting, have a plan if it is, and if it's not, we will announce that there's nothing we could do and potentially look at something virtually that can be done. Jan. Oh, you're muted. You're muted. There you go.
My only concern is Halloween is like 6 weeks away. It's not a lot of time. That's the only thing and that I'm thinking about. And make a lot of plans, it just seems like a short period of time, and that there might be other things that the commission should be focusing on rather than that. I like the idea of something simple.
Yes.
You know, what Shannon suggested is great, you know, just like to keep people involved. But it just feels to me like it's a very short window to accomplish something. That's all. In theory, it sounds like a great idea, but I'm just worried about the timing. That's all.
Right. Okay, thank you. Kate?
At the least, it could maybe the same ideas could be used for a Christmas event if we don't make Halloween.
Right. True. You know, and I also understand that both Halloween and a holiday event would be smack in the middle of flu season. So quite aware of that as well, and which is just going to complicate things even more so this year. And so, you know, for our best intentions, still may not happen, you know. But we'll put a little legwork into it, and, you know, but we'll see, you know, and again, maybe it's something that we just send out a virtual message to everybody, wishing them a happy Halloween and looking forward to them, seeing them during healthier times. So, and then that leads to then senior programming for the other programming for those with disabilities and seniors. Maybe we want to look at doing a virtual program, you know, in the spring or in the late winter. And so we can mull some ideas of what that program may want to look like. What do we want to present and work on as a commission to present a virtual program to the community to be a part of? You know, it could be disability related. It could be senior related. I know, Vic, you had been working on something for the spring. I don't know how that if could possibly translate virtual or not, or what subject matter you were working on. So I don't know if you want to speak at all to that.
Well, what I was working on was the Commission on Aging.
Yeah.
We were going to have a speaker from that organization to talk about the aging America and so forth. So I didn't pursue that, as you know, but that's something that might be doable on a virtual basis in the spring.
Yes. I think that could be a really good virtual presentation, actually. Susan knows I'm working on another council, and we've done a few Zoom presentations through the library, and they've worked really, really well. Actually, we had, it's been interactive. So we had one where we had a panel of people who we presented and then asked questions, and there was a lot of discussion back and forth. And another one where we watched a clip of a speaker, and then there was pointed discussion questions, and there was a lot of interactive discussion from the community. So honestly, the Commission on Aging sounds like it could be a really good virtual presentation to the community, a good, really good forum for them.
I have some names of people that I had been in contact with before, and I can pursue that again and see what the landscape might be.
That would be great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So Vic is gonna, Vic. Okay, any questions or comments on that direction and other programmings that we could do virtually?
I think, Ed, didn't we toss around the idea that once the age-friendly project started, we'd do a presentation about what's involved, and that would go well virtually? Yes.
So let's see where we are with that. But yes, that would be a good one virtually. After I speak to Ed and see where we are and have the survey done, and when we're ready to present it, that would be a great one to do virtually. Yes.
Yes, I'm planning ahead. The library is picking up another Zoom account.
Okay.
So it is something that we might be able to fit into the schedule if you wanted to do it through our account.
Great. Thank you. Okay. And Susan, I will, yes?
Susan, if you're picking up another Zoom account, do we contact the library?
Yes, because we're scheduling most of our programs through December virtually. And because we have so many community groups that want to do things, we're going to pick up one just for the community also.
So, and then what happens when you do that is you coordinate with the library, they set up the Zoom, but there's going to be a link, and we can also send it out on our commission page, whatever, but there's a link on the library page under their calendar, register for that event, and then you will get the Zoom information that day of what the password and the login is, and then you log on, and it's very specific to just that. And there's someone from the library there who's monitoring and hosting and letting people in, although was able to make us co-hosts so that we could share screen information as necessary for presentations. So it's worked out really, really well. And we've had a really good attendance, honestly.
It's also possible that you can record it and, you know, we could send it to SCTV. So it's been working out pretty good.
Wonderful. Okay, so we'll think about other possible programming that we could do virtually, and we can continue to discuss this. So before we move on, do we want to back up to the Board of Selectmen Liaison Report? Welcome, Wendy Mactusis.
Thank you. It's Mactusis.
Mactusis. I always mispronounce it, and I apologize.
That's okay. Oh, you'll learn. Well, I tried to capture some of the items and things that have happened since we've met which is quite a while. So I may not have everything. But currently there's been a lot of discussions on the Meadowwood property. There's been discussions and a couple of public hearings on the sale of a small piece of open space. Trying to remember the other public hearings. We had a public hearing on the wildlife ordinance, which passed back in July. So, but there were a few proclamations that the board made. There was the autism proclamation in April. There was the 350th in May. And then we did pass that Hidden Heroes resolution in May, which was on one of our agendas, I think when I first joined the board. It's for spouses and families of veterans. Someone presented it at one point. And then we've applied for a grant to replace the Dial-A-Ride van that happened in June. And then the only other thing that we've talked about is, just about the absentee ballots, which, applications have gone out to everybody in the state, and our residents and seniors have an opportunity to vote, submit the application, get a ballot, and then either drop off the ballot at town hall. There's the mailbox out front, vote in person, but if that's a high risk, and mail them in. So it's a kind of a small report because I'm not really sure. It's been a while. So if you have any questions or you need me to get information on anything, just let me know.
Thank you, Wendy.
Yep.
Wendy Maxtutis. Yay! Okay. And from somebody who has a difficult last name that everybody mispronounces, I understand. Okay, so moving on to the Senior Community Center, which we haven't necessarily discussed in a little while, but I was told that perhaps it's something that should go back on our agenda to discuss again. That's all I have on that, really.
What was the basis for discussing it again?
It may have been an email. Is it part of an email from Ed? You know what? I got to find the email.
Last I knew, it was still in the capital plan, town's capital plan,
Yeah.
for a couple of years out.
I remember we were talking about trying to get that pushed up in the budget
That may have been.
negotiations. And did that happen? What?
And
No,
the
it's still
town
in
isn't-
there.
Yeah, maybe you could talk a little about, Wendy, about, engaging the consultants for looking at the town buildings.
Well, I know that, so the Facilities and Enrollment Task Force for the schools was just completed and recommendations were made. And the town is just starting the town facilities. The same architecture group is looking at the town. But I'm not that familiar with if the seniors, so Eno is part of that, obviously. But as far as the senior center, I believe that's a separate item in the budget or capital plan. So I don't really know, where that stands. And it might help to be more vocal, like on that topic, to just make sure it stays, that this constituency is still pushing for that. So there's other competing things. So I think Ed's plan might be a good one.
Yeah. Okay. So Mike?
I seem to remember Ed mentioned one of the previous meetings that we've exported so many times. There's been different commission look at it. It's like beating a dead horse.
True. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm not sure, when I am putting it on here, is it to revisit it to start all over again and, get an architect, all that. But I think it's, as Wendy pointed out, make sure that wherever it is in funding and approval states that it's not being gone to the wayside or constantly lowered on the totem pole as things are available and able to be accomplished and approved and funded, that we are still maintaining relevance in approval and funding and stuff. So, you know, it's something, and I will find my communication that made me put it on there. Of course, I don't have it right now, but, you know, I think it's just one of those, we don't want it to just kind of go to the wayside, not beat a dead horse, because it's been a long time, but we also don't want people to think that it's forgotten about either. Anything else on that?
Good luck.
Thank you. Oh, thanks. I know, Mark, yeah, Mark has done an extraordinary amount of work on this, and it's exhausting. Okay, the PAC accessibility update.
I don't know that there is one. Mike, I don't know, Mike, if you have had any other interaction with Missy at the Performing Arts Center.
No.
No, I spoke with her right before everything shut down, and it's just not happening.
So the last update that I know, and this is where I think we need to pick up and find out, did anything happen or not happen, was Ed had sent out, it's his understanding, the funding to make the PAC accessible is on the agenda for discussion and consideration at the Board of Selectmen meeting. And that was literally right before everything shut down.
Yeah. Yes. I think that still happened, didn't it, Wendy? Wasn't money allocated?
Yeah, so you guys are challenging me and embarrassing me because
that's okay.
We're going back to March and February. I was going to say, I believe we talked about it and there was a plan to pave it. I tried to find that today, but I don't think I went back far enough. So
Okay.
I can come back with an answer next time.
Okay.
What was discussed and decided.
Great. That would be awesome. Yeah, again, it's just one of those things I just want to follow up on things that we had been working on and had been in the fire, knowing that a lot of things, you know, kind of get pushed to the wayside. We just didn't want to make sure that the funding was happening currently, not too far out in the next, couple of fiscal years.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think there was good news on it, but I just don't have exactly what that was.
Oh,
anymore.
That's great. Thank you. Any other old business that anybody wants to bring up that I may have missed?
It's
yes,
not
sir.
necessarily old business, but I'm going to have to disconnect in a few seconds. So let me just mention one thing that's going on. It impacts the library, and it also impacts the auditorium, and it's assisted listening. The library applied for a Peg Fisher grant, and most of it was awarded. So a new assisted listening system is going into the Friends Room. In addition, a smartphone assisted listening server is going into both the Friends Room and the Tariff-Build Room, and is in the auditorium, but I believe it's totally untested at this point because of COVID. But the smartphone assisted listening system is intended pretty much for people like myself that don't have profound hearing loss, but you're a senior, you've started to lose your hearing, you can't quite understand everything going on in the lecture or whatnot, and this would allow you to tune in on your cell phone. And if you have earbuds or a headphone, get much better audio through it.
Oh, great.
So I just wanted to mention those items.
Thank you.
And they should be installed this fall.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
Anybody else with some old business?
Me. That's
Yes.
me.
Yes?
I think I brought this up, or you received an email about it, the police accountability bill that's moving through the legislature right now, or was passed in the special session, I should say. There is.
I was going to do that under new business.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I'll wait.
Sorry, it just, since that was not something that the commission had worked on before a meeting, so I'm going to get to that on
Thanks.
new business. Thank you though. But yes, because it is on my, thank you. Anything else under old business before we move to new business? So I don't know how to actually go about this next item, which is the voting for the new chair and chairperson. As we all were sent an email, Ed LaMontagne, who had been our chair for many, many, many years, 12 years as chair, I believe, 22 years on the commission or something, has resigned from his position and resigned from the commission, and we owe him a debt of gratitude and wish him well. And as a commission, we now are in a position to vote on a new chairperson and a new vice chairperson. I am currently the vice chairperson, and I guess that is, I'm not sure what to do about nominating and what at this point.
I'll nominate Diana Yaisley to be chairman of the Aging and Disability Commission.
I'll second that.
Okay, so Mark has nominated and Kate has second. Is there a discussion that anybody wants to have? Okay, all those in favor of Diana Yaisley as the new chair of the Aging and Disability Commission, please indicate an affirmative by raising your hand or pointing a finger up. Okay, any opposed? There's no opposed. Any abstentions? And the motion passes.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
Thank you, Mark.
thank you for serving.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. So that leaves the vice chair position open since I am now officially the chair of the Aging and Disability Commission. My former position as vice chairperson is now open. Then we are welcoming nominations.
Well, I wonder, are we doing that now?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I wonder, Jan, since you were secretary, do you move up as vice chair? No?
Yes, Jan, go ahead. Sorry, Jan.
I don't think it's an automatic, and I'm perfectly happy doing the secretarial position. Thank you.
I'm not, yeah. There is somebody that has been recommended. I'm not, I don't know if I am allowed to nominate somebody.
You're part of the commission, you should be allowed.
Okay, so I nominate Shannon Knoll to be vice chair of the Aging and Disability Commission.
I will second.
Any discussions on that?
I guess, could you go over, her background? And I don't really know much about Shannon.
Sure. Shannon has been a part of the commission for the last couple of years. She does, like myself, have a background focused on primarily disability-related issues. However, it has been someone who has served the town in various capacities over many years. She serves currently on the planning commission. No,
Zoning.
Thank you. Zoning commission. And she is a former selectman for the town. So worked on bipartisan issues, worked on things for all these, people in our community, and is really in tune with legislators up at the Capitol, and has done a lot of work up at the Capitol for those with disabilities, but is equally up to the task to be on board serving those in the aging community as well. Okay. So that's Shannon's background.
Thanks. Okay.
Any other questions or comments or discussions about the nomination of Shannon Knoll as the vice chairperson of our commission? Okay, all those in favor of Shannon Knoll as our vice chairperson for the Aging and Disability Commission, please raise your hands. Show an affirmative action. Any opposed? Are there any abstentions? And the motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Congratulations, Shannon.
Thank you, Shannon.
Thanks, Shannon.
Diana, I'm going to need to leave the meeting. Do you have a quorum if I leave?
Let me just make sure. I believe I do, because we don't really have a lot of, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, because I can also move Vic up to a regular member if needed for votes.
Okay.
So thank you very much, Mark. I appreciate it.
Okay. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye. Have a good evening.
Okay.
Okay, so we did that. Moving on to new business, voting accessibility. I know that every year we make sure that there is accessible voting available, and voting accessible for those with disabilities as well as seniors. There will be, one thing I do need that we should check on is whether there will be curbside voting as there has been in the past. Does anybody know if that is? There should be curbside voting as usual. I know that there had been rides to the voting in the past. I'm not sure if that will take place or not, but I think it's important in this time for people to understand that absentee ballots are available currently, and that they can request absentee ballots from the town hall. The mail is an option, but if you don't feel comfortable mailing in your ballots at this point, you can also drop them off. Voting will take place in person. If you are uncomfortable voting in person, then make sure that you get a ballot to drop off ahead of time. Anybody else have? Mike?
I guess, is there a schedule published so people know by when to do what?
Right, when to get your absentee ballot in.
Yeah.
And yeah. Kate, did you have something to say?
An email went out from the town of the schedule, and we actually got our application in today's mail. But I had a question. Did I see also you can drop your ballot off election day, like at the curbside?
Yes.
Yeah. So would we, I guess following what Mike's question is, would we post anything on the Facebook page or anything to help just remind people there will be curbside and they can drop their ballot off?
I think that's something that we can post. We'll post on our town page. We never got a Facebook page for the Aging and Disability Commission.
I thought that happened. Sorry.
No, that's okay. It's something we were working on, and then there was some social media issues. It is something that actually we can look at doing now, because we've worked out kinks on another council to be able to have a Facebook. But there are certain things that have to be careful with Facebook account, because it can't ever be construed to look like we're having a meeting over Facebook. It can't be a discussion page. It can't. We can post information, but we can't have discussions on the page. And it's really a very carefully crafted page. But it's, I will make, that's something that Facebook page. Now that we understand the rules, we will get that up and running. But yes, we will post on our town page, and when we get a Facebook page up and running, we could do that as well. And I work with the town on that. Mike?
I guess, could we just make sure that the town is posting on their webpage clear instructions, and then that's what we should copy with whatever we send out our post.
Yes. That's a good idea. Thank you. Anybody else on the voting accessibility? Okay. Services to seniors and the disabled during the crisis and COVID. And this is different than our programming. This is, I wanted to discuss known services that are being provided during this time to seniors and those with disabilities. I know Kathy mentioned a lot during the Senior Center report, so that may have been covered. But if there's any other services that people are aware of that are being provided to seniors and those with disabilities during this crisis, I would like to make sure that we are on top of that and share that information. So if there is anything that anybody is aware of and would like to share, please do so at this time. Yes, Erin.
So the Department of Mental Health and Addiction Services received a FEMA grant, a crisis counseling grant. And it's enabled us to put at least one crisis counselor in each of our 5 DEMIS regions. And so our region falls under Wheeler Clinic, and they're working in conjunction with our senior outreach and engagement staff. But it's a crisis counselor, what we're calling a coach, a crisis counselor coach, that can do outreach to people that have been negatively impacted by COVID. And we're specifically, my program is specifically targeting seniors or people that work in residential care facilities or nursing homes, or, and we can do presentations via Zoom. We can do educational contacts with families, with agencies, with seniors. And so I don't know the best way to get the information. I mean, Kathleen, maybe I can send it to you guys. I mean, if you can somehow get me your email, I can forward information, and there's contact information and just information about the CCP grant. But it's it's a resource for seniors, at least.
Great.
Impacted by COVID. What is, I don't know, do you have a town email?
Yes.
Okay.
I can send that to you.
Okay, that'd be great. And then I'll send you the information. I think it'd be important for you guys to, the social services and the senior center. So.
Sure. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
And again, presentations can be done, educational.
That's great.
Yep. And then specific outreach to people. And then what we'll do is, if, get people longer term care, if that's what they actually need, if we can't help in a short-term fashion, because this is short-term, but we certainly can do that. Yep.
We have a new member, I see, Jan. Yeah. Thank you, Erin. Thank you very much. Anybody else have any updates to services to seniors and those with disabilities impacted by COVID? All right. As we move forward as a commission, if we are aware of, hear of anything, or hear of a need that needs to be addressed towards seniors and those with disabilities who are impacted by COVID or during this crisis, I would love to make sure it's addressed. Mike.
I just thought of something. With everything being done virtually now, how about adequate access to computers for seniors? Anyone see? I know all younger people have computers at home, but is that an issue for the older population?
That's a good question, because I know that prior to COVID, the library was a place of computer accessibility for the community, but very much for seniors and potentially people with disabilities who may not have computer access at home. Sue, you want to say something about that?
Yeah, right now in the program room, the library is offering the use of one computer for an hour a day. So if you need access to the computer, you can make an appointment and you can come in and use the computer.
That's great. I'm not sure that people are aware of that, honestly. So that's good to know, and we'll make sure that we let people know about that. But then that's a very good point to bring up, Mike. Yes, Erin.
I think you can contact the State Unit on Aging, which is part of the Department of DADS, the Department of Aging and Disabilities through the state. Amy Porter is the commissioner. And she's actually been in Simsbury doing, presentations. But I believe they have a program to get technology to seniors. And I believe they received a grant. So you could probably contact Patty Richardson at the State Unit on Aging. If there were specific questions around that, but I believe there is a program through Aging and Disabilities.
And we are doing tech help by appointment also. So if you need help with something, we can do that.
Great. That's fantastic. Thank you, Sue. Anyone else with some? These are great things to discuss. Okay, so Simsbury sidewalk repair. It was something that had been brought up previously in a commission, and then I know Shannon had emailed Ed with concerns, and I had actually contacted the town with concerns because as we were out walking a lot during COVID and trying to walk and get exercise, we noticed that there was many sidewalks in the town that were in really bad disrepair and were not accessible for someone in a wheelchair or with an adapted device of any sort. It was hard to even walk on, quite honestly. It was becoming dangerous to walk on. One area in particular on Hot Meadow, as you approach the intersection of, is that Owensbrook there and across from Iron Horse and Liberty Bank. That has since been repaired. And it's great to see that it is repaired and usable now. But if there are other sidewalk issues that people are aware of, it's important to remember to keep these in mind. And when we notice them, especially when we have accessibility issues, that they're unpassable and untravelable, that we are aware and make sure we communicate with the town these items as they've been noticed. Anybody else have anything on some sidewalk repair? But I did want to let you know that the big one has been repaired and it's actually quite nice. Mm-hmm. All right. So now we will move on to another new business, legislative issues. Shannon has started to talk about before with the police accountability bill. So Shannon, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yep. Okay. So in the special session over the summer, the legislature passed a police accountability bill, which included listening sessions for to address police issues for people with disabilities. So they have been going through a series of public hearings, I believe all of which are full, except for the one on September 24th. These are all being done by Zoom, so you don't have to go into the legislative office building, but there is a specific task force that has been set up as a result of the police accountability legislation to address and listen to and gather public input about people with disabilities and their interaction with police, vice versa. So I know I am submitting testimony on Thursday. And if anyone is interested in doing that, just, shoot me an email or let me know and I can put you in touch with the right people to submit information to.
Great, thank you. Anybody have comments or questions about that? Okay, good stuff. So next is the accessible living at the Ensign House and Hurley office. Again, this is actually something that Shannon brought to my attention. Shannon, you want to speak again a little bit on this?
Sure, and maybe Aaron can chime in here a little bit too, if I'm not putting you on the spot too much, Aaron, from Planning Commission. But it just, and I wasn't here when this happened, but when the Ensign House and the apartments above were constructed, they don't have an elevator. So a person with a disability who needed to access an elevator would not be able to access those apartments. That has just sort of come onto my radar in the last couple of months. And I don't know the history behind it, but I just wanted to bring it to the commission's attention.
Actually, Shannon, that didn't go before planning.
No.
But I actually spoke to the Scullys because I was interested in looking for an apartment there for an older person, and they couldn't put the elevator in. They inquired, but because of the historical nature of the building and the historical commission, there was no way to retrofit, and so they couldn't. They just were not able to put in an elevator that would accommodate so that people with disabilities would be able to access the 3 or 4 apartments. But they did try, and they were just there was just no way to do it based on what they had to do to maintain the character of the building. So
okay.
Yeah. So I did myself because I had the same question.
No, I was more deferring to you about the Hurley property. I know there has been some discussion about making that accessible for potential housing for people with disabilities.
I don't know anything. To be honest with you, I don't know anything about that. The Hurley, where
Jay Foster's is.
I didn't know anything about that, to be honest with you. That hasn't come before the planning at all.
Okay.
This is the first I'm hearing of it. That's interesting.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's all I really have. So thank you, Erin.
But that would be a great location. Wow.
So we have an issue with the Ensign property where Metro Beast is and the elevator situation. How would that go about being addressed potentially, since I know it's a private residence, but at the same time it's a commercial property with private residences as part of it, and not being ADA compliant in accessibility to access. Is that something that we need to address to the town? And if so, in what fashion? Yes, Mike.
I think so. Isn't if they're doing any renovations, the building has to be up to code now, which includes the ADA, I believe. And for historical, I don't think you can change the outside of the building, but I believe you can do stuff to the inside.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I think what we need to do is contact someone at the town. Would that be planning or?
I think it would be planning, or I can look into it if you.
Okay. That would be great. And let us know, and I'd be happy to write a letter or be on a Zoom meeting with you if you need.
Diana, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Again, I'm not sure what they can actually do at that property based on the historical. I mean, I feel badly because trust me, it would have been great had the other, but I think it is a private enterprise, and they tried and they were told by other commission, it wasn't something that could be done in an old building. I think they did a lot to make sure that the restaurant, the hair salon, everything was accessible. But I don't know how they would, I just don't think there's an avenue for them to put in an elevator. And I think based on what Shannon was saying, why not focus energy on a potential housing at where Jay Foster's is, where, maybe that doesn't have the same historical significance as Ensign, and really push to say, listen, that didn't have an elevator. We really need this one. You know what I mean? I mean, that would just be my suggestion. I think it would be futile based on that they've already tried. And
okay.
Yeah. So that's just my 2 cents.
Great. I mean, I know that the public areas, like you said, the restaurant and the hair salon and any other office buildings that are there are accessible. It's the private residence, and if being a privately owned, not necessarily open to the public, they may not be out of compliance in that perspective, as long as those that are open to the public are within compliance. Yes, Mike.
So let me understand. In essence, they're discriminating against disabled people by having these apartments that they can't use.
On the record, pretty much, yes.
I just want to point one thing out. They do offer, I had seen it before and I just looked it up. Their first floor, they have a first floor apartment that they rent on Airbnb. So maybe that's how they get around it, that they do have an available space that someone could rent. And it says it's fully accessible, and it's part of the same level as a restaurant. So that could be the kind of the caveat there, that you could rent that if you really wanted to live there. You'd have to live on the first floor and pay whatever the fee is. Just throwing that out there.
Thank you, Wendy.
Okay.
I still think, just for maybe even my own peace of mind or zen, I will dig a little bit on this, because I don't know. And like I said, I willingly admit I was not here when this happened, but I feel like, Millwrights is a historical building as well. And they have an elevator, going up and down from their main floor to the downstairs. So I don't know. I'll look into it a little bit more. I don't want to, I hear what you're saying, Erin, for sure. But I just want to do due diligence on it.
Thank you.
There may be an issue with the elevator too, because they have a safe in the building. They have the vault from the old bank.
Oh.
So that maybe they couldn't take that out.
The way it was described to me, based on where they would have had to put the elevator, there was no way they could put it in retrofit because of the historical nature. And there were things that they could not do to the building to put it in. There was, they checked. So, and I don't think, I can't imagine they would have been able to move forward to build per ADA.
Right.
That would have all been vetted. But I think, Susan, you're absolutely right. There's those kinds of things, and the historic, they had to abide by that as well. They had a lot to do. So, probably Wendy has a point. People could get that first floor. I'd forgotten about that first floor.
Right. And sometimes you're mandated by the State Historic Preservation Office too, as to what you can do to a building.
Right. Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
We've done that with Eno a lot.
Yeah. And I think maybe Millwrights, I don't know, maybe that building had a place that they could easily put in an elevator, but this did not, it just did not have it, being an old house. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you. And Shannon, if, whatever you find out, let us know. That'd be great. Okay. And we've moved on. We've talked about the Hurley office. Okay. So last on my new business is the Spirit Council October presentation. So those that are unaware, I think I mentioned this at a previous commission meeting that I am also part of the Spirit Council, which is now, I always forget what it stands for the minute I go to talk about it, but it's basically a new council as part of the town of Simsbury on diversity and inclusion in town. And I am certainly there, of course, for diversity, but definitely there on the inclusion piece, constantly reminding people that disabilities are also part of diversity and inclusion. And we have started monthly presentations programs. The first one in August was on anti-racism versus not racism. Our second one in September, it was Hispanic Heritage Month. And our next one, October 6th, is going to be on disability awareness in the town of Simsbury and the struggles that, you know, the things that may be lack of access and things like that for people with disabilities in Simsbury. So talking about your disability experience in Simsbury. And we chose October because it's also Down Syndrome Awareness Month. So we thought that would be a nice time to bring disability discussion to the Spirit Council and the community. So that will be through the library and on October 6th. So as soon as we have our flyer, I'll be sure to send it out to the commission, and please join us. It should be a great discussion. And if there's anybody that would like to participate, please let me know. It should be a good presentation. So we're looking for a variety of different disabilities, abilities and disabilities to be representative in our panel.
What time is that?
6:30.
And what was the date again?
October 6th. Okay. Is there any other new business? We've tackled a lot this evening.
We've covered a lot, and one of the things that is very glaring to me with all the personnel changes we have, we need an updated commission list.
Yes. Okay.
There are people here that if I wanted to talk to them, I would have no idea how to get in touch with them.
Okay. Thank you.
So,
that's a great point.
We need to update that.
And Diana, can I just follow up on the PAC item that I couldn't remember that?
Yes, of course.
So I reached out to Maria, and we did include, there is funding included in the budget to do a study of the permanent parking surface solution, given the wetlands and floodplain issues there. Mm-hmm. But we recently submitted a STEEP grant. And we also included in that, we asked for money to construct an accessible walkway around the perimeter of the inner area and to and from the parking lot.
Okay.
So if we get that, that would be great. I don't know the status. I think we just did it in the last few meetings.
Okay. Thank you for that update. And yes, Vic, I will make sure that we get, so, you know, what would be great is to make sure that, although I probably can get it from the town, if everybody wanted to just send me your email addresses, although I think I have everybody's because I do now have Erin's. I will make sure we have our new updated commission list sent out to all commission members. And we will work on filling our new open positions that we have, since there's a lot of them suddenly. Is there any other new business? Okay, well, thank you all for being here again and coming back to the commission and getting back to work. And it's been a long time. I miss seeing all of you. With that, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Vic Bible has put a motion out to adjourn the meeting. Do we have a second?
Second.
Mike seconds it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay, the meeting has adjourned. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for participating. We got good stuff going on. Thank you very much, everyone.